If you were no longer affected by the judgment of others and you stopped judging yourself, would you make different choices? Why make choices in your life based on judgments instead of on your awareness of what would create the life and living you desire? Everyone has the potency to make inspired choices. Get ready to listen, share, and experience the creativity that is you. Now, here is the host of Inspired Choices Radio Show, Possibilities Coach Christine McIver. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time on A2Zen.fm.
Welcome, everyone. How are you all doing? Wow, I'm so happy. It's June in Canada. The weather is delicious. Only delicious if you like nice, warm weather, but not too hot. Lovely for walking, lovely sunshine. Everything is blooming, and my world is blooming, and I'm so happy to have all of you here tonight. So I have a co-host tonight. Joanne Del Core is going to be joining me tonight, and we're going to be doing the show together. We love to play together and create together, and we don't know what this show is going to be. So if you're going to join us in the chat room, we would love your contribution. Energetically, verbally, or written would be welcome. So tonight we are talking about what to do when nothing works. Now, last week, it was really cool. I had a guest, Dr. Andy Harper, and she is an animal doctor. And the show that we did were animals contributing to your business. Really? And it was so incredible because we had no idea where the show was going to go, and yet it was another choice that was available to us in the universe that we started to discover and uncover all the places and spaces. So I'm excited to see what tonight creates for all of us, including Joanne and myself and all of the listeners. So before we get into the show, I'd just like to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a possibilities coach, and I work with individuals and organizations to co-create the things that they desire in their life with all the possibilities available in the universe. Now, I'm an Access Consciousness certified facilitator, a bars facilitator, energy healer, radio show host, producer. I do a lot of things. I like to be different. I like to keep myself busy, and I'm having so much fun doing that. Now, my programs assist individuals to bring more possibilities to actualization. If you are ready to start changing your life and claiming, owning, and acknowledging all that you desire, please give me a call. Now, I do charge for my services, but the first 5 minutes are always free. Let's see what we can change together. So tonight, you've been a seeker all your life, trying modality after modality, tool after tool, purchasing programs that are a surefire winner, and still nothing seems to be working. What if the quote-unquote answer is closer than you think? What if you have the keys that will unlock it all? So tonight, Joanne Del Core, who is an emotional intelligence strategist, and myself are going to be talking about this very subject. So welcome, Joanne. Thank you for joining me, darling.
Thank you for having me. I love being on the air with you. Thanks, Christine.
Okay, are you going to sing through the whole show?
I know. That's what we started doing before we got on air. So we might as well what if we just sang through this whole radio show?
Okay. Could we get a different beat because I feel like I'm in church?
That's funny how you think singing belongs to church.
No, my voice just went there. No, I don't think. But that's where I first started singing. So the musical edition of Christy Inspired Choices. Oh my God, that's hilarious. Well, I don't want to run. I don't want to chase all of our listeners away. So I may hold this. I mean, when I have a glass of wine, I'll start to sing, but I'm just going to hold back for a little bit. My voice went to church, and that's hilarious.
Your voice went to church.
Tell all of our listeners a little bit about yourself, what you do, and how you create in the world.
Okay. Just briefly, I am an emotional intelligence strategist, so I work with children, I work with parents and teachers and individuals to help create emotional health in their lives. And I particularly love doing the work within schools and teachers to help create emotionally healthy environments. So that's kind of like in a nutshell what I'm really focused on. But my sort of the bigger scope of work that I do in the world is really to help people navigate through their emotional world and their emotional space, and so that their emotions are not they're not being used by their emotions. They're in fact using their emotions for information and growth. So that's me in a nutshell.
That's cool. I just got this visual of you or of somebody not being whipped around by their emotions.
Exactly. That's what I teach, and that's what I love to talk about. I bet that's going to come out tonight in this radio show. I bet I'm going to say a lot about that, about how emotions can really sort of sabotage us or hijack us in many moments in our lives.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Right?
I've never ever had that experience. Never.
And this week is not a hard week for anyone at all.
Not at all. Like,
no,
I didn't post something on Facebook yesterday. It was like basically telling everybody to bugger off.
Right, with the new moon and all, right?
Oh my God, yeah. It was like okay, so right now it's June the 3rd, 2015. So if you're listening to this in the replay, June the 2nd, 2015 had a full moon. And I swear to God, I felt everybody's bitchiness, edginess. I'm telling you, I had it in my body. I had it in my emotions. I just was like, it's a good thing I work alone. I'm just saying. Like, it's a good thing nobody else is physically in my space, because I may have put my hands around their throat. It was just friggin' amazing, the intensity of it, right? And
I hear you.
And I was using my access tools, and which was definitely being a contribution. And then I had a dear friend came over in the evening, and she ran my bars. And
Did she?
So if you're new to this, Access Conscious, the modality, the foundational modality of Access Conscious is a healing modality where we touch 32 points on the head, and what it does, it starts to unlock limitations, intensities. It can improve your sleeping. It can improve your emotions. It can change everything and anything. It's pretty dynamic, and what it did for me last night was it gave me more space. It took the edge off, and so that's one of the modalities that I have in my toolbox that I really enjoy, and sometimes it's not what I choose. So Joanne,
what if you don't have anybody to help you with that, right? So what if there's no one to run your bars for you, right? I mean, I know today and yesterday I've had this intense headache on my left temple that I haven't been able to shake off. And so I literally had to take a nap. I literally had to just disconnect and take a nap. But for the most part, when stuff that I do, it doesn't work during moments like that, like my go-to is rest. That's what it is.
So, one of the tools in Access that I absolutely love is asking questions. So, let's come back. I'm going to come back to the piece about the questions, but in a lot of the modalities out there, and whether it's a modality, a spiritual modality, an energy healing modality, or it's something that, like a program, like a business program or a motivational program that we purchase, a lot of the times people, not all cases, but a lot of the times people are giving us their quote-unquote answers. And a lot of the times they might work for, 5 minutes, 5 days, 5 years, and then they don't always work forever.
Mm-hmm.
Joanne, have you actually purchased different programs that you thought, oh my gosh, this is the answer, this is going to be phenomenal, and then it was like,
Yeah. Oh God, so many times, because I'm like a toolaholic. Oh my gosh, I just go, I run. I know every tool in the frickin' book, and I like to sort of consider myself the tool detector, or the person that sort of will try a tool and then figure out how effective it really is, and then once it's effective for me, then I sort of pass it on to clients, or I'll pass it on to people and say, hey, you got to really try this because this has really worked really well for me. But I think for the most part, what that helps me to do is helps me to understand myself at a deeper level. And sometimes I let go of the tools because I reach a different level of awareness and that tool doesn't function from that level anymore. So I search for something else. So I feel like tools are really effective to help get you to the next level, but I'm not sure that tools are meant to always consistently work, because if they always worked, then we wouldn't be freaking changing. We wouldn't be evolving.
Hello. Yeah, I totally am with you on that. It's like, a tool can work, or a part of a tool can work for you, and then it can stop. Or you, like the one thing that's consistent in the universe, Joanne, is change, right?
Yeah.
So we are always changing, and we are always, things are, our taste buds might change, our interests might change, our bodies change, our desires change. So change is the consistent factor here, right?
Yeah.
And so when we're changing, if we're always using the same thing, eventually we might grow out of it, or we might move beyond it, as you said.
I think that is I think that's what's anticipated, right? I think that I would hope that when we start to look at tools, that we sort of somehow in our minds decide that, okay, this is going to help for now to get me over the bump for now, but I might venture into something different, different areas to discover something else. It's like a scavenger hunt of tools. But,
right.
Yeah. I remember you said to me just even the other day when you were just going through all of your books that you bought, like just even a few years ago, that you held on so tightly and you were so impressed by, that now you're letting go of,
Yeah.
and that's so cool to me. That's so cool that you can let go of all of that information and now reach for something different. That's just
But it was really
amazing.
interesting, because as I was looking at the books, there was something, and it's a little challenging to articulate, but as I was looking at the books, I was actually having an emotional trigger, as it were, with them, because I felt like I was betraying them, because I had, quote unquote, decided, now this is my interesting point of view, I had, quote unquote, decided that these were going to be the answer to all of the places and spaces within me that were messed up, screwed up, and needed fixing, right? And this one person just turned something on in me, and it was like, oh my God, this is it. This is it.
Yeah.
This is it. I found it. This is it, right? And so, I attached myself to these individuals and their thought processes, their programs, their points of view, and then as I've continued to evolve and choosing, when I went to look at them, because I started to feel this heaviness within my environment, and I started to look at these books, because I had so many of them, and I dreamed actually of having a huge library with all of these books. But what ended up starting to happen was they felt really heavy, and they felt like they were taking up all of this space within me. Mm-hmm. And as I started to kind of pull them out, I had a moment with each of these books, and it initially became like, oh, I'm like turning on them. And then what actually began to happen for me was, it was like, thank you for your contribution. Thank you. That was great. That was then. This is now. Thank you. So it shifted, but initially I felt like I was being, betraying them. And I think that came from a space of, because I, quote unquote, had decided.
Mm-hmm.
And so what if we could just step into, and I often equate it to stepping up at a buffet table. What if we could just step in, Joanne, and taste one of them? Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm going to taste this time. I'm going to taste this. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to taste this. And really come from the place of, what works for me? What am I desiring right now? What is it that's, ringing my bell?
I love what Faith has said in the chat room. Do we use our education or tools or information as stability points to keep connected to others who use the same things? That is
Faith,
a really awesome question. Yeah.
Wow,
yeah,
that is fantastic.
Sometimes I feel like tools gives us an excuse to really connect with people who are, quote unquote, like-minded, and and I think that whole like-minded stuff is really kind of dangerous because I think we're all fundamentally the same thing. And so when we start talking about how, oh, I'm going to hang out with this person because, you know, they're using this tool and they're my people because we speak the same language, can be potentially dangerous. It's almost like tools have a way of segregating people, I feel sometimes, you know. I feel like it's kind of like medication in some ways. Like, take medication to get you past the little bump, but don't keep taking it.
Wow.
You know?
I love what you just said. Okay, so how many of us are actually drug addicted
yeah.
to the medication of this modality, that modality, and how many of us are not actually, because we're addicted because we've decided that that's the answer, and we're not really checking in every day around, you know, will this work for me? Will this work for me today? Exactly. Am I choosing this today? Right? We're not asking questions, and then we wonder why, you know, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the line, we're like, I've been doing this forever, and I've paid all this money, and I've done all the things they said I should do, and my life's still screwed up. Mm-hmm. Well, what if we didn't give our power and control to any modality? We didn't give our power and control to any, you know, programs. We came into them with the curiosity of a child. Each day, we came in with that curiosity, and it's like, hey, is this going to work for me today? Like last night, I really desired to have my bars run, like you wouldn't believe. Okay, really. Can I ask you, like, okay, so I'm curious about why you needed so when I hear you say I needed my bars run so much, you know, I go into this, okay, there's the medication component, there's the piece there's I got to take the pill kind of thing, right? Like, what about the bars work made you need to have it or want to have it? Or, you know, was it your body saying that, or was it sort of like, who was saying that? Who? It was me. I have an awareness when there's different things going on in my being and my body. I have an awareness, you know, I've been learning to listen more and more to my body and asking questions. And I have this awareness when certain energies come up for me, how much the bars will and does contribute. And now the bars is kind of like something that happens super fast, you know, so it's like a 75, 90-minute process. And like, seriously, Joanne, I got off the table last night after getting my bars run. I'm not kidding you. I was completely different from how I was for 12 hours this day. And some days it's like, no, I want to go for a run. Or some days I want to sit in nature, you know, or, you know, sometimes I just want to crawl into bed and cover up my head, and maybe I want to read a book. Maybe I want to listen to music. Maybe I want to laugh with you. Yeah. Sometimes it's something different, and it is asking the question. And what was there present in my reality yesterday, I knew that this one thing was calling out to me. But I'm more than, I don't use the bars in a way to like change everything. I ask the question, okay, would getting my bars run today be a contribution? Hell yes, right? Would playing with Joanne tonight be a contribution? Hell yes, right? And sometimes it's like, it's just even like, would it be a contribution to go out with friends tonight? Actually, no, it would be a contribution just to hang with me tonight. So I think one of the biggest things that we can invite everyone into doing is not deciding something's right or wrong, but asking questions about it in the present tense, not based on any choice we've ever made in the past. I'm sort of pondering what you're saying. I can hear that. Yeah. And I'm gonna have a lot to say about that after the break. I know you are. I can feel it. She's building up, girls and boys. I'm ruminating. She's building up. She's ruminating. She's going to bring out her energy and whack me with it. The tsunami, baby. The tsunami of Joanne. Yes, like Carol says, she's stewing. Okay, everyone, you are listening to Inspired Choices on A to Zen.fm. We're talking with Joanne Del Core about what to do when nothing works. Stay tuned. We will be right back.
Many of us make choices in our lives based on the past or what others think. What would our lives be like if we made our choices based on what we desire in this moment? By tuning into Inspired Choices Radio Show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to do just that. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to create the life and living you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices Radio Show.
What would you say if I told you that you could change your life in only 1 hour and all while lying down relaxing? Thousands of people all over the world have. What am I talking about? It's called Access Consciousness, the bars. The bars is an energetic body process that contains 32 different points on your head that when run assist you in releasing decisions about any area of your life that you have made solid and as a result cannot change. The bars is the first class in Access Consciousness, a dynamic set of tools and information designed to transform any area of your life. When you have a bars session, the worst that can happen is you feel like you had a fantastic massage. The best thing that can happen is your whole life could change. Go to accessconsciousness.com today to find a facilitator to schedule a private session or to find a bars class in your area. Are you willing to give yourself an hour to change your life?
Being visible, being social, being heard. What desires are you ready to create? Would you like to take the next step to creating a potent presence on the web? Would it create more possibilities and expansion in your life? BeingVisible.ca offers website, social media, radio show creation, and more. Creating with consciousness, bringing the energy of you to your audience. Are you ready to connect with your audience clearly, regularly, and with ease? Christine McIver and Carol Glover work with individuals and organizations to create a powerful presence on the web. Personal attention and one-on-one training creates the ease with expanding you. Are you ready? Connect today at beingvisible.ca. Managing your emotions is often seen as a hard thing to do. But what if that was a contribution in order to fully awaken who you really are? If you're not achieving your dreams in any area of your life, it's because you are not connecting with the emotions behind those dreams. Not because you can't, but because you haven't been taught how to. To learn how to change all of this, contact the Emotional Intelligence Strategist, Joanne Del Core. Joanne can be found at www.joannedelcore.com or email joanne@joannedelcore.com. Working with Joanne, you'll receive tools and information that will bring you to a place of true, sustained emotional health and happiness for you, your kids, and your family.
This is Inspired Choices Radio Show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver. To participate in the program today, please call toll-free in the U.S. 815-880-8255, TALK, or Canada 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us. Our Skype name is a2zen.fm. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. I am your host, Christine McIver, along with my co-host, Joanne Del Core. Hi, Joanne.
Hello.
So you were ruminating while we were on break.
Yes, I was.
Please share with us what you came up with.
So here's what I'm going to say about tools, okay?
I friggin' love when you do that. You know how much that cracks me up, right?
What, because I have to set it up?
Yeah, you set it up. You always set it up. It's the most hilarious friggin' thing to me. Oh, my God.
Well, you know, it gives me an opportunity to sink deeper into what I'm trying to say and articulate.
I know. You don't get significant at all.
All right. I get your point. I'll stop it.
No, don't. I mean it. I love it.
Well, I think that, okay, so here's what I'm going to say. I believe that tools, so there's a difference between knowledge and wisdom, and we're in a physical reality, and that physical reality requires us to take in information so that we can get to know ourselves a little bit better. We can understand our progress. We can, understand what to say yes to, what to say no to that sort of aligns with us. And so that's information, and that's really important, but it only can go so far. I believe that tools that point you to an informative piece about who you are, that then lead you into a wisdom piece, that then you can sort of have your wisdom piece unleashed, is a tool that will always be effective. That's sort of where I go with tools. And
okay, you lost me.
So where the hell did I lose you?
I don't know. It just is.
I think there's a difference between knowledge and wisdom. And I feel that any tool that will lead you to your wisdom piece is an effective tool. But a tool that's going to lead you to just information or just sort of like do this and you will get that kind of thing, it's not as effective.
That's like
just generally what I experience. And so I think that's why sometimes I throw out some tools, because they only give me information and they're not pointing me to an inner part of me that already knows the answers.
Right. Yeah.
So
that's what I'm talking about from the, you're using different languaging. That's what I'm agreeing with you about, which is weird because we don't usually always agree.
I know. What's up with that?
What's up with that? Oh, there was a full moon yesterday. Everything's off its damn axis.
We're becoming cohorts instead of villains or something.
No. It's much more fun to fight with you.
Well, you know what I'm talking about, right? I mean,
I just heard the weirdest thing. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I just heard something in the background. I'm like, what was that? Okay, I think the universe is telling us to smarten up. The thing that for me, what I was saying is it's by asking the questions, by questioning, is this going to work for me? Is this not going to work for me? Is this giving me information? Is this giving me wisdom about myself? All of those different wordings that both you and I are using is really having us tap into us, look within, seeing what works, seeing if this is true for me in these 5 seconds. Is this true for me? Yeah, this is true for me. Cool, right? And it's really the tools that I love, and this is what's turned me on so much about Access. And it's not that I don't use, like Joanne and I actually met during our coaching training program with CTI, and I still use lots of those tools. I use lots of tools I learned taking my professional HR program from college. I use whatever pops for myself or for a client in that moment. But it's really coming from the place of, okay, what's required here? What would work? What would be a contribution? It's really coming from that energy of question. And that's what is different for me, and where Access has added to my repertoire. Exactly. And so when so many people, Joanne, you and I have worked with hundreds and hundreds of people over the years, and so many of them will come with either a desperation or a frustration because they've tried this, they've tried that, they've tried this, whether it's losing weight or it's, creating a greater relationship, having better communication with their children, money, we've lots of us, and you and I both have had our shit too, and we'll continue to have our shit, right? And it's like so many of us have been taught from day one to look for the answer. And, it's like saying, look for the right flower. Well, there's a bounty of flowers. There's a bounty of choices in the world.
Right.
And I love what Keisha says. How many people are approaching their tools or methods from conclusion.
It's almost like searching for the tool based on the end result rather than anything else, I guess. I don't know. I think that's what she's talking about.
It's like the end result of what worked yesterday.
Yeah, that's the pill syndrome. That's like, let me take this to get that, you know? And what I love about human development and the human being is when you tap into something and into a tool, you can get so many different results in so many different ways. And so I don't know. I'm still sort of thinking about the main topic of this radio show about like what happens when something does not work. Like, what does that mean? Where do we go?
Okay, so everywhere that anyone out there has ever used a tool and it suddenly doesn't fit, and you've gone into judgment that there's something wrong with you,
mm-hmm.
Can we please destroy and create all of that times a godzillion?
Mm-hmm.
Right, wrong, good, bad, POC, POD, all nine shorts, boys, and beyond. If that's the first time you've ever heard that.
And there's your tool. There's a tool right there, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tool, right. And that's a tool that we use in Access Consciousness. And what it does is it just starts to unlock the energy of that. So it gives us more space and more possibilities with it. But what I'm picking up the energy of what we're talking about here is a lot of us go into the shoulds. This should work. It worked yesterday. Well, like, okay, Faith says nice. Instead of what worked yesterday, it's what would work in this moment. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, and how many of us, like, I have talked to so many people and they've like, I took this program and I spent this much time and I spent this much money and now it's not working.
Yeah.
And
I remember, oh my gosh, I have a personal experience with that. I do a healing modality that's pretty awesome. Okay. Like it has changed my life. It changes so many people's lives that I work with. But there was a particular family that I worked with and I did this healing modality with every single person. And they were the first people that I spoke with who actually didn't experience these mind-blowing results that I would have expected from the information. And I was kind of like, what's going on with that? Because I don't know why it's not jiving with these people. Like, I'm not sure why it's just not fitting or, you know, and I had to sort of take a step back and think, you know, what's the energy behind this? Or, you know, what is it that's getting in the way of the results that I know they're capable of? And so it had me think about the nature of tools and how sometimes we use them as, you know, access to answers and solutions. Whereas, and I don't know. And so that was a moment in my life where I was just like, wow, you know, this is not going to work like this for everyone. And that's going to be okay because everybody's got a different learning that they need to take in. And so some tools are just going to be completely, you know, inadequate for others or irrelevant or, you know, or just not applicable. Right. And that's just the way it is. That's just the way their body. Yeah.
It reminds me of one of the tools that we learned in our CTI training where we dance with the client.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that?
Yes, I do. Dance in the moment, baby. Dance in the moment.
Dance in the moment, dance with the client. So it's really going for following and supporting that individual in where they are and in what they're experiencing and seeing what really works for them. So when we're asking a question, and we learn to do this in coaching as well, when we're asking a question, not to actually go into the, you know how people can ask you a question, but when they're asking the question, Joanne, they're actually making a statement as to this is the answer. Right? You know, people do that a lot. So wouldn't you really love to have a chocolate ice cream? Asking if I would like ice cream and if chocolate it would be the flavor I would choose, or are you just telling me? You know, it's like it's a statement with a question mark at the end. No, Carol does not want chocolate.
So bloody ambiguous. Yeah, I know.
So it's sorry. Now my mind's on ice cream. Damn it. Do I have any ice cream down here?
You know what? You're giving it away, Christine. You're giving it away where you are.
Squirrel. Sorry. So when we ask a question and we really come from the space of curiosity and we're not attached to the outcome of our client and whether the client is someone that that's part of our business, or when we're asking ourselves that, and we really tap into what's true for us in this moment without a conclusion that it should work.
Mm-hmm.
The universe supports us all the time. And I know that since I've really stepped into that, knowing that the universe has got my back always, and it rarely turns out the way I've expected it to. And when I've given up expectations of outcome, my God, it's like a band starts to play in my life. Like this opportunities and playfulness, like where my life is today, Joanne, and you and I've known each other since 2008, where my life is today from where it was back in 2008, you wouldn't recognize me at all.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. I really like what we're talking about tonight because I really like this. Because, here's the thing, as a facilitator, as a person that works with people who have anxiety, they come to me because they want their solution. They want a solution to their problem. So, that's sort of like the world that we come from is, if you can give me this solution, then I'll pay you. And what I realize about human beings is that it really does take two to resolve something for someone. So like I love to showcase tools with clients, but sometimes those tools I'm going to throw out the window because that client's not in need of that specifically. So I create a tool with the client, with their body's information, with their life circumstance information, and that to me is just like brilliance right there, because it's a way for them to really, I think, narrow in on maybe an old pattern that seems to be resurfacing, and then this is a way to sort of disrupt the pattern. And so I don't know. I mean,
what's really cool too is there's so many choices in the world. There's so many friggin' choices.
Yeah, so the question is, how do you choose, right? How do you choose what works for you? Which is something I think that you've been tapping into in the show tonight, which is saying, ask yourself questions. I don't think the majority of the population really knows to say, would this be a contribution to me? And then wait to see how it feels in their body, right?
No,
that in itself is a tool, but that in itself is sort of the difference between staying in your rut and moving forward, right?
That tool can actually work as a key to open the door to the tools that work for you. And speaking of keys, Joanne.
Yes. You got the keys to my bima?
Come on, say it the way you meant to say it. See, and
everybody's wondering what the hell we're talking about.
Tell it. You got to tell it. It's funny, and we're going to go to break right after.
Oh, God. There's a lyric to a song that I've been singing all day, and it's like a reggae song. I can't do it.
You've got to play it on your phone.
I can't do it.
You're such a chicken. But what I wanted to say was, this is a tool. This is a tool that I use, that Joanne uses, that so many people that I know that are such a huge contribution in my life and my business and my creations. This tool of laughter, of play.
Yes.
This is one of my absolute favorite tools to unlock heaviness and stuckness and conclusions and decisions and judgment. This tool that we often take for granted, that we often do not acknowledge, is massive. This tool changes everything.
And when you do it, it's not a freaking tool. It is what we're meant to do as human beings, and that is to relate. So when we actually start connecting with each other, then we actually start the healing process for each other. In essence, that's what it is. Let's just call spade a spade. You know what I mean?
Good. We're not agreeing on this. I like it. So
you can't tell me that humor is a freaking tool because it's reliant upon somebody else.
Listen to me. I believe that a lot of people look at laughter as, you need to get serious. this is really important. You need to get serious about it. And when we actually use laughter, and you know what, it's natural for you and I. Like it just does. It is natural for us until it's not. And then once it is again, cool. But for a lot of people, it's like, get serious. This is serious stuff. And when you can begin to use laughter and play and body movement and music and joy, you know, when you can use these to begin to change, that's when you can step into even more possibilities. And that's when you can ask the questions and get more awareness on the questions on what's going to work for me and what's not.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay. So we are going to go for our second and last break, actually. We're doing it different.
God,
Doing it different with Joanne. I know, right? And we had no idea what tonight was going to be. Okay, I don't know what that was. Anyway, you are listening to Inspired Choices on AtoZen.fm with Joanne Del Core, and we will be right back.
Many of us make choices in our lives based on the past or what others think. What would our lives be like if we made our choices based on what we desire in this moment? By tuning into Inspired Choices radio show with Possibilities coach Christine McIver, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to do just that. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to create the life and living you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices radio show.
What would you say if I told you that you could change your life in only 1 hour and all while lying down relaxing? Thousands of people all over the world have. What am I talking about? It's called Access Consciousness, the bars. The bars is an energetic body process that contains 32 different points on your head that when run assist you in releasing decisions about any area of your life that you have made solid and as a result cannot change. The bars is the first class in Access Consciousness, a dynamic set of tools and information designed to transform any area of your life. When you have a bars session, the worst that can happen is you feel like you had a fantastic massage. The best thing that can happen is your whole life could change. Go to accessconsciousness.com today to find a facilitator to schedule a private session or to find a bars class in your area. Are you willing to give yourself an hour to change your life?
Being visible, being social, being heard. What desires are you ready to create? Would you like to take the next step to creating a potent presence on the web? Would it create more possibilities and expansion in your life? BeingVisible.ca offers website, social media, radio show creation, and more. Creating with consciousness, bringing the energy of you to your audience. Are you ready to connect with your audience clearly, regularly, and with ease? Christine McIver and Carol Glover work with individuals and organizations to create a powerful presence on the web. Personal attention and one-on-one training creates the ease with expanding you. Are you ready? Connect today at beingvisible.ca. Managing your emotions is often seen as a hard thing to do. But what if that was a contribution in order to fully awaken who you really are? If you're not achieving your dreams in any area of your life, it's because you are not connecting with the emotions behind those dreams. Not because you can't, but because you haven't been taught how to. To learn how to change all of this, contact the Emotional Intelligence Strategist, Joanne Del Core. Joanne can be found at www.joannedelcore.com or email joanne@joannedelcore.com. Working with Joanne, you'll receive tools and information that will bring you to a place of true, sustained emotional health and happiness for you, your kids, and your family.
This is Inspired Choices Radio Show with Possibilities coach Christine McIver. To participate in the program today, please call toll-free in the U.S. 815-880-8255, TALK, or Canada 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us. Our Skype name is A2Zen.fm. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
How did this time go so fast? Like,
you know what? I don't know. We need a freaking 2-hour show, Christine. Like, what's up with that?
You know what? Laughing with you, I could do it for days and days and days. You are such a contribution to my life. I do really mean that.
You know what? I feel the same way about you, Christine. I seriously do not laugh this way with anybody else in my life. It is so awesome. So
awesome.
It gets
better than that.
I love it.
So, what to do when nothing works? What else is truly possible? The questions, and that's another question that is friggin' awesome, is just asking what else? What else? What else? Mm-hmm. And coming from the place of when you're asking that question of true curiosity. Mm-hmm. True curiosity, not frustration.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to add to that too, because I think curiosity has a lot to do with being connected to either yourself or someone. So I'm not sure, I'm thinking in particular of a situation when, say, you have somebody that you're speaking with and they're in a difficult bind and nothing's working for them. They're in a very, resistant place. And I find that the best way to support someone in that place is to just keep seeing them for who they are, just to keep seeing who they are. Not that you're helping them to solve a problem, but you're just seeing who they are in this moment. And that, oh my God, that's like miraculous, because then that allows shifting to happen. And so I find that when I feel like nothing is working, I don't want somebody to freaking tell me to use a freaking tool, because that'll just get my back up. I just want to be heard. I want to be heard. I want to be seen. I want to complain. I want to vent. I don't want to have to be my best self. Yeah, I don't want to have to be my best self when I'm feeling like crap. Like, that does not make any sense. So the whole seeing piece is so huge. So anybody who feels like nothing is working, have a conversation with somebody and ask them to just see you. That's it. Yeah. Not solve the problem.
Well, we do have a caller, and right before we bring Callie on, I just want to say that one of the things that oftentimes that I do with you or I do with other colleagues is, you know what, can you just hear me? Right now, I just need to get this out.
Yeah.
And how much of a contribution is that? Or, I'm really awesome at crying.
Yeah.
And sometimes I just need to get my tears out, or I need to get my screaming out, or I need to get something out. And honoring that, what is required in this moment, that's just as much of a tool as anything else.
Absolutely.
It's honoring what the body is asking for.
Oh, God. So, and having full permission to be messy, okay? Like, let's give
messy,
ourselves
permission.
Totally. All right. Yeah, I know there's a caller on the line, so I could talk about this all day, but let's get the caller in here. Yeah.
Okay, Callie, are you there with us?
Yes. Are you hearing me?
Yes. Thank you for calling in. What is your question?
Hi. My question is very fitting to what you were just talking about. I literally was getting myself really excited about an event that's coming up this weekend that I really so much want to be part of, and I feel it, and my body wants it, and I was doing all the things that I was feeling that would contribute to that, and it just, but then what stopped is the fact that the funds weren't there, and I had already been in the questioning, okay, well, what else is possible that I haven't considered yet? And I had an opportunity last weekend to do a little networking with some people. I ended up giving my services for free, doing some bar sessions and stuff at a Pampering Day event. Nobody bothered to, leave any tips or anything, which was fine. I didn't, hold any attachments. I just wanted to be in the flow. And now it's like, okay, well, it's like, starting in 2 days, it's like, okay, well, what else is possible that I could come up, the funds could show up, or that I can even attract clients, or contributions to my business to be able to enable me to do this. And so it's like everything just kind of fell out from beneath me. And
it
today,
sounds like
it's like, okay, I went to the park to walk out in nature. Like my body was needing to get out. And I did, and I come home, and I just started crying, and my body is like,
you know what? I think what you're talking about is very, very common. I think it's when we go into the waiting space, boy, are we tested. You know, we are, if we have to wait a day, 2 days for results, we sort of come into, we make a conclusion that nothing is working, that, we've failed and we're not getting immediate results. I'm going to say that, in fact, as long as you plant a seed, the results will come. And I think the biggest joke on the planet is that our results don't ever come back to us. That I think that it's very easy for us to believe that we don't get the results that we reap when we don't see immediate feedback, right?
And Joanne, to add on to that, it's because we have an expectation, a linear expectation. If I do A, the result will be B. And Callie, what if you've been planting seeds and your harvest is going to come in many different ways and spaces?
Exactly.
When I started my coaching business, my conclusion was that if I did A, B, and C, that I would have clients to coach. And now what I'm doing is I'm doing the radio show. I'm producing radio shows. I'm working with clients in different facets, but they all came in different ways. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's sort of like so when you see a result, don't be attached to how it showed up. Change, new people come into your life.
My body was screaming then? Was that probably why my body was screaming? Like,
well, you probably
a lot of tension.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what we often do is when we have an expectation and we start to contract and we get very upset and we lock it in our body, and it's like the best thing that you probably did for your beautiful body was to go walk and allow it to expel all of this and keep coming from the space of what else is possible, and really from a curiosity and know, the universe has got your back.
Yeah, that's big. And it's hard to remember that when you're down on yourself, right? It's very hard to remember that. But I believe that once you stick it out, once you resist those moments and you can hang on and keep saying to yourself, there is something here that I'm doing that's important. The universe has my back. I will continue. I'll keep walking through it. And then shifts start to happen in completely different ways that you would never ever imagine.
Right.
So,
Thank you so much for calling in, Callie. Really appreciate your question.
Thank
it
you.
Really added to our show.
Yes, thank you, and good luck.
We are getting to the end of the show. Joanne, can you please let everybody know where they can contact you for one of your sessions, to work with you one-on-one?
Yes, my go-to piece of information is my email address, joanne@joannedelcore.com. And I have a Facebook page called Be Anxiety Free that you can contact me at. And those are my digits. I guess they're really not digits. What do you say? I guess that's my contact info.
I guess that's your digits. I've never heard it put that way before. That's awesome. And you can contact myself at inspiredchoices.ca or Inspired Choices Inc. on Facebook, and Christine at inspiredchoices.ca, also LinkedIn, Twitter, you name it. And Joanne is going to be with me next month. We have no idea what the topic's going to be about. If you would like to hear the two of us debate something, please email me, and I might put it in front of her and see if she wants to do it.
Oh, tempting.
Thank you, everybody, so much. And listen, just always know the universe has got your back, and know that you can always ask another question. There are so many choices in the world. Have a brilliant week. Take care.
Thank you for choosing to listen to Inspired Choices Radio Show. Christine McIver will return next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time on A2Zen.fm. We hope you'll join us. Until then, have the best week of your life by making the choices that bring you all that you desire.